Well, we are very happy to be with all of you guys. We have a very special invitee today in the CEO Talks, and we want to really welcome Mitch Waters to this interview. Mitch, welcome. We are very happy to have you.
Thank you very much, Jose. It's a pleasure to be here.
So Mitch Waters is heading an amazing company that recently was presented as one of our best workplaces in Hong Kong, and we are super happy about it. Also in Greater China, and what we want to do with when we have this kind of talks, Mitch, is to learn and to understand different aspects of your everyday interaction with your people, with your leadership team, with your management. Because as soon as you appear in our list, it really raises a lot of curiosity to understand what is behind that, what is happening, and they really want to understand many things. So today is going to be brief, but expect probably a little bit of inquiries, maybe attraction of talent or something like that, Mitch.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Thank you for inviting us on. Like, we hold the Great Places to Work survey in such high regards, so it's a privilege to be on.
Thank you very much. So let's get into it. And I prepared a list of a few questions, and let's make it very informal. Let's make it in a chat way. But I have a guideline of these questions to give us some frame. And let me start with the first one, of course. And we were wondering, what was the biggest challenge that you faced this year, and what did you learn from it? It's just to open the
just to start with the simple question. So I think, look, 2020 will go down as one of the most challenging business environments, I think, in the coming decades. Actually, COVID has reinvented and changed all the rules. There is no playbook for how to sort of handle this. And I think one of the challenges that we sort of faced is we went from businesses and offices and communities that came together on a regular basis to then a network of people working remotely from their homes. And how do we maintain that continuity and that culture and that spontaneity that exists? And there just isn't a playbook for it, because we've never had a situation where we had to send everyone home and also manage the safety of our staff and our clients. So I think the ability to push a workforce back into their homes, protect their mental health, create business continuity, and then also create excitement and maintain a culture is obviously incredibly challenging, as you can believe. But I think one of the things that I'm incredibly proud of is that I think that the teams have done it in an amazing fashion. And I'm not saying it was 100% smooth sailing, and we've learned a lot, but we're constantly iterating, and I'm already seeing differences in how people behave in meetings purely because they're now having them virtually. So I think that the ability and listening and active listening in most of my meetings, because everyone is doing these virtually now, has improved dramatically. And I think active listening is amazing. I actually think person-to-person empathy between your team members and the struggles that they face, and as that pertains to different countries as well, absolutely has increased as well, because again, the uniqueness that globally we're all in the same sort of struggle. So, and then I've seen a whole bunch of new ways of engaging and building culture that has been driven from the top down, but also more excitingly, organically driven from the bottom up. And I think that's what's made, in my view, the Trade Desk incredibly special.
Yeah, totally get it. Lately, we've been talking with, I was saying this afternoon in another call, that in the last 4 months, I've been speaking with more CEOs than in the last 5 years. This is just the sign of how intense has been the exchange of ideas and the willingness to speak about what are we doing, and what are you doing, what are we doing, and just understanding each other to because you were saying there's no playbook for this situation, for anybody, for any industry, for anything. So we are really coping with it the best that we can do and the best that we can understand it. So it's really, really outstanding nowadays that companies keep their category as a best workplace among these circumstances. Let me tell you one quick thing, Mitch, that I really like. Probably you don't remember, but our mission is to build a better society. And we do it by helping organizations to become best workplaces, right? And I remember that in your mission, you have a very nice phrase, very inspiring as well, transforming media for the benefit of humankind. I really like it. And I really like the parallel that can be given in this situation. It's really interesting because, well, it's this kind of very inspiring quote, very inspiring mission that can help the people to have some sort of beacon to be pointing at, right? And it has to be ambitious and inspiring. And in these conversations that I was citing, that I've been having in the late months with these management people, CEOs and everybody, they've been having, well, many points, but one that keeps moving around my head is that what is success among this situation in the middle of the storm, I would say, because we have in the red definition of many things, success can be very different now. For some, success will be surviving, right? For some, success will be not laying off anybody, and that's already a huge accomplishment. What is success for Trade Desk in the middle of the storm of COVID-19, Mr. Waters?
Yeah, look, I think you hit the nail on the head. Like, if I think about our partners and our clients, like for a lot of them, business continuity will 100% be a success. Like, we have a lot of amazing clients in travel, tourism, and hotels, and unfortunately, they're doing it very tough. But we're already seeing innovation that come out of these industries through the force function of they have to. And so I'm excited about that. As it relates back to the Trade Desk, I actually think the consumer changes and the consumer behavior changes, that will come out of COVID actually will enhance our business, because what we're seeing is more on-demand viewing of any sort of media, which is traditionally delivered digitally. We're seeing, unfortunately, very much unfortunately for me, live sport was off for a good 2-3 months, and that was challenging. So people are looking for new places to consume content. Advertisers were looking for new places to get scaled audiences to reach. So I think the COVID behavior will actually accelerate the mission that we already have in terms of how we make the buying and trading of media the most efficient way. And how that then dovetails back to our mission around media for humankind is we believe in an open ecosystem and an open internet. The power of, if the internet is controlled by a handful of dominant players that have the ability to determine that what content you look at, when you look at it, and who's providing it, one, it sort of leads down a very myopic view, but also it disregards all the hundreds of thousands of local businesses, content producers, journalists, and small businesses that need to thrive in this open ecosystem. So we're very passionate about what we do because we believe there's a better way to trade media, and we believe that we need to find ways of channeling advertising spend back to the open internet to ensure that we are creating a more even internet and an available internet for everyone.
Yeah, definitely challenging. Thank you for sharing that. Actually, when I was listening to you, I was thinking, because of what you do actually, right? The media that you manage. And I was thinking that somehow it has become amazingly popular to be your own media producer somehow, right? So many people streaming, so many people trying for the first time to show their face on the camera to deliver their service or their product. So many people dancing on the camera because now it's a trend with the famous TikTok app, and at the same time, so a lot of talent, right? Coming out and showing off, and it's part of what we are, the resilience of how we are facing all this situation. And I'm pretty sure if we had more time, we can engage in a very interesting conversation about this behavior of the people about this, because it definitely would be an interesting topic to go deeper into. But
I completely agree, Jose, and I think I'm an eternal optimist, and I always look at these big seismic shifts in the world as huge opportunities for things that we've not even thought about yet. So the way that I'm sort of hoping this sort of washes out is there's going to be hundreds of thousands of people that come up with this idea, that's sitting around their kitchen dining table, that are spurred on an idea because of a new way that it goes forward. And we believe that through the open internet, that idea has the best chance of reaching maturity, because there's more ideas, there's more available funds to come at it. I'm incredibly excited for, because the normal that'll exist in 10 years' time will be defined by the people coming up with the ideas today.
Very likely. And I'm pretty sure Trade Desk will be instrumental for making these ideas happen in a more professional way with all the experience that you have. And that'll be an amazing finding, definitely. Mitch, by the way, thinking about all these challenges, have you ever encountered a moment in which you were very, very challenged, or even unable to make a decision about how to move forward? How did you overcome this challenge, and what kind of support did you get from your team, or the culture that you have in your team?
Yeah, plenty of challenges that obviously, not that we couldn't overcome or didn't have a solution, but I deal, as you know, in a hugely diverse region that is APAC. My ideas of how something could be solved for in Japan, while I may have a great idea, there's a lot of nuance that I just don't have, and I want to ensure that I don't try and come in with a tone deaf solution or approach. So I very much believe in sort of creating a council around me of diverse people with experience in each of those markets, and we stress test ideas with each other on a regular basis. Even if I do have the answer, I prefer to get validation of that response to ensure that one meets our business objectives, maintains our cultural, but also respects cultural sensitivities of each market. So I'm very unashamed to say I enjoy being, if I'm the smartest person in a room, I'm in the wrong room. I enjoy having skill sets of people around me that I can bounce ideas off. And also, like, a lot of the decisions we made over the last year, as we've said, there's no rule book, but also they fundamentally impact our business and also the safety of our teams. So I wanted any decision we make, whether it's a difficult decision or a relatively easy decision, I also want collective buy-in on that decision to ensure that regardless of what happens, everyone understood the thought process around it. And then I just get the luxury of putting my name to it, and have if everything goes well, like it mostly does, then that's fantastic. If it's not, then it's on me as well. But that's the style that I've always been. I was trained through my career, and it's something that I just feel it fosters a culture of trust, which in this virtual world is incredibly important.
And now that you mentioned trust, another very key point of our conversations lately has been that I was reminded by one CEO, now a close friend, that we've been pushing all the time as Great Place to Work main or core philosophy is all about trust, right? And we've been pushing trust, the level of trust that you have in your culture. It's instrumental for making business and so on and so forth. But then COVID-19 shows up and challenges so many things, among them working from home. And when you face that, these personalities, leaders that have these anxiety of control, they felt or they feel that they are not seeing things happening, and they are challenged about the level of trust they have in their relationships to push things forward, to have the people delivering, to have the people contributing, apart from helping them to cope with their own anxiety of uncertainty and the change and all that. So for us, it's the star moment for the trust to show up, and definitely the key moment to have it in the best shape, in the best shape possible ever, right? Because you really need it now, because you need to deliver, and you need innovation, you need the resiliency, you need to trust everybody to deliver, to perform, to do whatever they have to. So what has been your biggest challenge, again, to build this trust and maintain this trust during this current situation, Mr. Waters?
Yeah, I think I'll go back to the point you made around our mission of just,
right.
We're a purpose-based company. We have a very clear goal of what we want to achieve, and we're striving to do it in order for the betterment of many, many people. Because of that purpose-based goal, that's the type of people we bring into the business. People that are passionate about solving for a problem, not necessarily solving for a quarterly target or a yearly target. Obviously, they play into that. But at the core fundamental element of it, everyone is incredibly passionate about what we do. They're passionate about the problem we're trying to solve for. They're passionate about the product we build because they have interest in it. And they're also passionate about protecting the culture that we have. Now, because of that very clear mission statement to try and achieve a benefit, it doesn't matter if we're all in the same office together or removed, because people are still that way wired if they're in our business to achieve this sort of benefit. Now, we've been very lucky that the trust levels have always been hugely high for us, and it's one of our missions, one of our values at the trade desk. But it doesn't mean you don't have to work on it and ensure that you provide adequate connection and vehicles to bring everyone together as it is, whether it be virtually or if they're in some of the markets that do allow some sort of social gathering. How do you do offsite team catch-ups or anything like that? So while a lot of countries are still fully locked down and this is the mode that you engage, a lot of the team are challenging ways to sort of either connect offline in smaller groups together to get that physical sense, or we do things like I'm sure you've heard in a number of your conversations, whether it be regular town halls. If we're doing big product pitch demonstrations, what they'll do is they'll tie it for later in the day, and they'll start off with a cocktail making course to sort of loosen everything up, and then the product demonstration will happen after that. But also there's been, as I said earlier, there's been a whole bunch of ground up initiatives. So we do in Singapore, we do twice a month, all office town halls. And that's a great opportunity for not just leadership to connect, but actually give opportunities for rising stars to get face time, experience, preparation, and everything like that. That probably, if we weren't in this environment, they probably wouldn't have that exposure to a full office audience
You're
so
right.
early in their career.
Yeah.
And just the creativity that I've seen come out of some of these have just been phenomenal. Like one of our account managers basically pulled a background like we have in sort of this webinar, but used it like he was a news presenter, and he would deliver his update as if he was talking about news. He would cut to weather, and just the amount of effort that went into it, and you could see the pride and passion that was in it. It just invigorates everyone on something that can quite dull if you do a mandated all-company meeting twice a month. We also had another person that did her update to the lyrics of Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, and she changed all the lyrics, sung it, but then put in all the correct names and stats. And again, no one mandated a creative element or a skew. It was just, again, their intense passion to be always striving for the best and ensuring that we protect this amazing culture that we have. So I think we've been fortunate because we've always skewed more to very trustworthy, mission-based people. But it still doesn't mean we don't have to work on it every day.
Yeah, well, definitely. Definitely. All right. Quite cool. And again, I go back to the very cool mission that you have. It gets me. Thank you for sharing, Mitch. So you are a winner of the list of best workplaces, not only in Greater China, but also in Asia. I think it's a big accomplishment because it talks about the consistency that you have across the region, as varied as it is, as different. And that consistency has been always a challenge for the organizations to have when they cascade down their culture, the initiatives, the processes, the practices. Sometimes it's just difficult to have the right culturalization locally. And I think you've done an amazing work. But we want to hear it from you. We want to hear if you can share a very unique practice or a very unique initiative that you do have in Trade Desk that you can share with us.
Yeah, I think in terms of, firstly, I think we hire for culture and put far more emphasis on that than I think a whole bunch of other companies would do. And again, when you have a very long interview process, and largely the first 10 or 20% is really around competency, the remaining 80% is cultural based.
Wow.
It is very clear that what we want to do is we want people that embody the mission, the values, and create really strong leaderships around that, and trust that we can put them in the local markets and then localize them essentially and adapt them. There's so much nuance, as you mentioned, what is going to resonate culturally in Korea and what will resonate culturally in Sydney. So it comes back to, I'd say, a lot about the hiring practices we have from a cultural perspective. And again, that dovetails back into all the way up to our CEO, Jeff, who frequently talking about this, the reason for our success is that firstly, our people and our culture, and second, our product. And when you fundamentally think about it like that from the top down, it's just ingrained in everything we do. So I think it starts at the hiring and sort of really prioritizing culture, because if you can get away with the competencies if one of the inherent values in your culture is the thirst of knowledge, willing to learn, wanting to be a change maker, be at the front end of any sort of development. So if you have that as part of your DNA anyway, You can largely have people that come in, you can teach the competencies that you want. But what's more important is sort of ensuring that everything that is to be a trade desker is embodied in that leader and leadership team and team underneath that. And then it's up to each of the officers to really put their local spin on it, to work out what elements are going to be more Korean and what elements are going to be more Sydney, but then always make sure that we remember what we're here to achieve.
Thank you for sharing that. Let me tell you, back in the years, I received a certification in Minneapolis about an organization called Chaotic Organizations. It was based on the teachings from Dee Hock. I don't know if you've ever heard this name, Dee Hock. This guy was the CEO, the founder CEO of Visa, just humbly. And his whole idea of an organization was the core and the backbone of launching such an amazing and such a successful business. And I'm talking about 40, 45, 50 years ago, many years ago, when they started putting this together. And one of the key ideas that he had in that organizational culture belief was the main point that you have to care for as a CEO and as the management team is how do you hire and who do you hire? If you hit the nail while doing that, the rest is just having fun and sharing and delivering and really enjoying what you are doing, because if you have the right people, you will definitely have a lot of fun later on. And well, it's a little bit simplistic. I don't have the time to tell you the whole story, but if you're interested, Chaotic Organizations by Dee Hock is an amazing book that you can benefit from. And you just shared an amazing piece that resonates with what Mr. Dee Hock said about this. Thank you for that, Mitch. And then let me ask you if how much benefit have you got from the support of and the partnership working with Great Place to Work? And this is a very straightforward question. I just want you to hear from you if you have a very valuable points, if you have interesting sharings about that.
Yeah, I'd say in 2 points. Firstly, as I mentioned at the intro, we hold our awards in such high regard, and we hold your company in such high regard. I think attracting talent is obviously, as I mentioned, such a key part of our success. Attracting talent is arguably the most competitive it's ever been, especially in our space. And if you look at emerging into certain markets in Asia, where you have big incumbent technology businesses that attract a lot of talent because of the direct-to-consumer name that they have or whatever. And these talent pool is more, they expect a lot more from businesses now than they did previously. And so obviously one area of that is like, what's it like to work there? And you could hear anecdotally, but it's always nice to have sort of that third party accreditation that a potential employee can go, okay, well, they obviously know exactly what they're doing. And then the secondary point to it, I think, is a much more internal point. And again, it goes back to what I mentioned, just the intense pride that everyone at the trade desk has for working at the trade desk. We all believe we've got a pretty good culture and we do a really good job of coming together and we are very passionate about what we do. But then again, to have your office or your company, again, third party awarded something that we strive for, it also is very empowering internally as well as candidate attraction.
Great. I'm glad to hear that, and we will keep doing our best to deliver what you need and being the right partner for you. Mitch, if you want to close with telling us something more anecdotal, something like if you have a motto, if you have a phrase that you keep on telling your people, if you have something like that that you want to share.
It would just be that in every challenge, there's an opportunity. And we're probably living in the biggest challenge in recent history, and hopefully in the coming years as well. So hopefully we're getting the challenge out of the way now.
Exactly.
But again, as I said earlier, the future leaders, the future businesses, the future norms that we will live in are being defined now. And so we can either view it as, let's get through this and survive, and that's fine. Or we can go, okay, how are we setting ourselves up to be there when the world has shifted? Because it will shift. And this is both from a company perspective, but also from my team perspective. It's a topic we didn't really touch on, but like a lot of my energy goes to thinking about how we support our younger team members who will not get the luxury of serendipitous exchanges or overhearing how to solve problems or anything like that. They will have very structured learning through this sort of virtual environment. But at the same time, because they are younger, they're also probably more in tune with what's going to be more future set. And they're probably in the best position to be those future leaders and change makers that are wired to think that way already. So we try and look at this as an opportunity, and we've done a lot of things to already make it more opportunistic. So, for example, virtual meetings are terrible. They're not personal, but at the same time, they reduce any geographic barrier. So how do we get better internally at coordinating internally and knowledge sharing as a region? And that has been enabled and facilitated through virtual meetings. And so we've done a lot more of those in the last 4 months, and our business is better for it. So yeah, my one takeaway, sorry for the long-winded answer, but in every challenge, there's an opportunity, and you just got to look for it and have that mentality to go find it.
All right. Thank you, Mitch. That was very useful as well, because definitely this kind of tips are very, very interesting for the people. So, well, I really, really would like to engage in a longer conversation, because I'm very curious and I like a lot the industry in which you are. But for the respect of the time and your valuable time, we have to say goodbye. But very likely we will see each other soon and very often. Hopefully live, because nowadays we cannot even have a proper handshake. But I hope you receive a warm handshake, virtual handshake from my side and our team, thanking you and recognizing you again for the great work that you are doing, heading this amazing trade desk organization that you have. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Jose. It was an absolute pleasure, and I'll take you up on that face-to-face long conversation.
Great. That'll be great. Thank you very much, guys, and stay tuned. We will continue with this series and looking forward to having more interesting invitees. Thank you very much.